Hi, my name is Gavin Bridges. Thank you so much for joining my artist talk today. I'm going to start off by introducing a little bit about myself, and then we're going to get into my concept, my influences, the materials that I use, and also a little bit about my process. So let's get into it. Again, my name is Gavin Bridges. I was born in Covington, Louisiana, and that is where I was born and raised. Growing up, we were very poor, and so I kind of got the inspiration of if there's a will, there's a way. And so anytime I was able to create, I would do whatever I could to create anything, or from a purse to going all the way down to creating drawings and sculptures with paper. I currently reside in Alexandria, Louisiana, where I recently just graduated from Louisiana State University in December of 2022. And I am now have started a Masters of Fine Art program where I can develop my skills as an artist and tone down a little bit on what I'm creating. One of the main concepts in my art is regionalism. It's my ideas, my day-to-day, the experiences I have throughout the week. Well, about my experiences in central Louisiana and the surrounding area in the South, and my experiences as a gay man in the South in Louisiana. A lot of my concepts in my artwork also includes feelings of self-doubt, feelings of alone, feelings of being in isolation, feelings of fear. But I always like to add little subliminal messages within my paintings and within my work, so that there's always a little bit deeper of a meaning or something that is related or has a connection to me. Many of my influences that have influenced my art and influenced the way I paint, one of them is Clementine Hunter. Clementine Hunter is one of those folk artists who really poured in her life into her paintings. She randomly picked up a paintbrush one day and just started painting. Her paintings were very simplistic with deep, deep meaning in them, and many of them had multiple meanings to them. She used size as a way to also show importance to people and objects. And so in her paintings, if things are larger, it means that they were more important to her. And so I tried to incorporate some of those qualities and the ways that she painted into my own artwork and into the texture and feel of my paintings. I'm also very influenced by Henry Matisse. His use of color, his use of hue and saturation within his colors. I get a lot of inspiration from him on my palette and where I get my colors from, as well as Vincent van Gogh. I really love Van Gogh's texture. I love how it looks. I love all the little line work that he includes. And so I try to include a lot of line work into my paintings, because I feel like when you have a paintbrush and you go to apply the paint onto the canvas, it's almost like a fingerprint. And every painting almost has its own fingerprint from the artist. And I believe that no two can really be the same, because it all depends on who you're influenced by and your experiences as to how you paint. Many of my materials are very common in the painterly world. I like to use hog bristle brushes. I paint on either board, canvas, or wood. I'm predominantly an oil painter, but I also have acrylics and gouache in my cabinets. One of my main materials is really my phone, because my phone is what I take all my photos on, and my phone is where I, do my research and I look up ideas and different things. Like, my phone is one of the biggest materials and one of the best investments I could have ever gotten. I have a iPhone 13 is what I have, and I went and received the iPhone 13 when it first came out, specifically because of the camera quality, and I wanted to be able to capture images and still be able to zoom in and get a lot of the detail. And a lot of times when I take pictures on my camera, I'm able to take multiple photos of the same object in different versions of light, so I can condense them all and look at them in order to draw my canvases. Another material that I use is a projector. If I am working on a large piece, I will often project the image onto the canvas or onto the paper and then do a quick sketch, and then I go back and I use the image as a reference and I go back and start sketching back and forth. I don't use it to completely gather the image because it's not the best quality of projector, but it does its job, and I get the basic line work before I start, and it really saves me a lot of time. For my process is a little complicated. Oftentimes when I go out and take photos or I go out and have an experience, I'll often come back and I will sit and process either that feeling, emotion, or I'll go back and view the photos. But usually about a day or two will go by where I will either have an image in my head and I know like almost exactly what I want, or it's almost like meditating on an image or an idea until something sparks. And then whether it be through watching TikTok and watching what other creators are doing, or even to where reading articles on what other people have already done. And that's where I get a lot of my inspiration in order to start. But once I start, I usually will do a lot of the basic things that many other artists do. Similarly is toning a canvas. I don't always tone the canvas, but sometimes when I do, I like to play around with the colors, but often I'll tone it red. I do like to work in layers. I will usually start with building up the color hue onto the canvas, and I will start with thin coats of oil paint and build up to get thicker. And sometimes it'll be 5 layers up to maybe even doing 16, 17 or more layers on top of that canvas. It depends on how I feel and until I feel like I want to be done with it. Sometimes I end up stopping on a piece even if it's not finished, but sometimes I have to tell myself to be done. But I will usually end up building up that oil, and then I usually will start and work in patches and fill in the entire canvas with color, and then slowly build on top of it and work from light to dark. Sometimes even after working on a piece for a very long time, I'll go back and end up re-washing it, and that's almost like putting a thin coat of color on top of it with linseed oil. But oftentimes when I'm done with the canvas, I will let it dry for a few weeks, from a few days to a few weeks till it's touch dry. And when it's touch dry, I'll go in with some Gamvar and do a final varnish. And then from there, I'll usually let them sit for about a week or so before actually putting them in a shop or even selling them. Thank you so much for joining me for my artist talk. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you learn more about me and who I am as an artist and how I create. If you have any other questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I will put my social medias at the end of this video.